This video is an extrapolation based on the idea that we are more than what we can see. On this, faith, psychology, and science can all agree.
I believe that the spirit that is you, driving your physical body, is eternal, and it is only the physical body that is temporary. This is a temporary world governed by time. And I believe there are places in the cosmos that are more permanent, with eternal beings and enduring technology. I think that we've experienced celestial realms in our past, and that we're here to learn something. I can't really say what that is for you, because I think it might be different for each person, what it is you're supposed to learn in your unique experience. But it will all be related to learning how to set your heart on eternal purposes and principles. This world, things wear out. And that becomes a shocking thing for eternal beings to experience the first time something wears out. And I think that that's proof of our eternal aspect. The first time you go to find that tool and it's broken, and you go, "What? I just bought this!" You become shocked, and it's surprising and jarring. And I believe that's proof of your eternal aspect. And I believe that this condition of having a temporal body is temporary as well. This is our test drive to learn how to drive a Ferrari. And so we get to practice on with these temporal vehicles, and learn how to drive them and care for them and maintain them and wash them, and all those fun little details involved in loving ourselves and taking care of ourselves, so that we can someday be united with a more permanent body. This is just a stepping stone on our path. When we come down here and we experience the decay over time, it becomes very apparent. And it's shocking to us when things wear out. But it's a lesson to learn how to set your hearts on things that are eternal, and not on things that wear out. When I asked my husband what he thought proof was of our eternal aspect, his very quick response was the law of conservation of matter and energy. So I wanted to add that in here as proof number 2, that matter and energy are neither created nor destroyed, they're only rearranged. And that one of his favorite fictional scenes is Captain Picard reminiscing on the amazing capability of nature to renew, reuse, and recycle its own things.
In my husband's words, it seems improbable that nature, having developed such intricate mechanisms of reusing its resources, could develop something as complex and unique as human consciousness and his wealth of experience, only for it to dissipate into the ether, formless and unusable. What a waste.
And that is nature itself providing a foundation of testimony for Captain Picard. And that's one of my husband's favorite scenes, so I thought I'd put that in there. And my third proof is kind of related to proof number 1, but this is more personal and more severe. It's when we experience grief over a loss.
This can also come as a surprise, but it is a surprise with what also feels like betrayal, because on some level we recognize the eternal nature of those whom we have lost, and it feels wrong for them to go missing from our lives. Maybe the experience of loss is designed to be a proof of our own eternal natures. that feeling of how wrong it is when our beloved becomes removed from our experience. Therefore, I separate this feeling of wrongness when an eternal being apparently goes missing from the feeling of surprise of worn out tools as two distinct witnesses of our eternal natures.
And for those of you who have already experienced a loss, it could be a person, it could be an object, it could be an experience, a class, it could be anything. We experience the grieving process through all of that, but I think the more poignant or the more potent ones are when we experience loss of a loved one. And so that's what I'm mostly addressing with proof number 3. I want you to understand that if you are still grieving, our hearts are knit together across time and space, and that those that you feel loss are still existing in a different realm. The most beautiful way I've ever heard it was that when people pass on, it is an opportunity for you to develop the spiritual aspect of your relationship and recognize that we are eternal beings, they are eternal beings, and that they are in your heart. And what I mean by that is that we are connected, heart to heart connected across time and space with the people that we have come to love in this life. And maybe that's one of the things that we are forging with this experience, of those heart connections with people across time and space. And that in itself is going to be a powerful communication. One of the things that I think can help with bereavement, and this is just a personal recommendation, is to write a bereavement journal where you express all of your feelings and all of it, even the things that you're ashamed to admit. Any kind of unfinished business you have with someone who's passed on, or continued, even people who've just continued on with their lives, you can write it in a journal or in a letter. Okay, so you tell what you're feeling, you share any unfinished business you feel you may have, and then ask for understanding. Sometimes you don't have to understand it. Just experiencing it is what we're here to learn. Because you are still an eternal being. This is just a temporary world. Relax into the confidence that your messages are sent. Allow yourself to be comforted. You can keep it all in a journal so you can reread it whenever you like, or you can write it in letters and burn it if it's something that you don't want to keep around. You can feel free to burn it and understand that the ashes are rising up to heaven with your messages if it's something you want it shared. Both techniques help you process loss and help you come to terms with your feelings. Just putting them into words sometimes is helpful, and it helps you heal from your pain. Healing from loss is not betraying the deceased, but in fact it honors them, their memory. You can honor them best by living a life of joy. So I've found writing letters to God a very powerful part of my worship. I found it a very beautiful experience, and I wanted to share that with you guys to maybe give it a try.